Hi there, welcome back to our channel. Today we give you a piece of breaking news from a royal expert. Meghan Markle and the famous five get a brief reprieve from the judge of the High Court of England. The Markle versus Markle lawsuit drags on yet again, and even the judge of the High Court of England, Justice Warby, seems tired of the games in this frivolous case. The case in brief, in case you missed it, is this. Meghan Markle discussed with her friends the contents of some private correspondence between herself and her father, whereby these friends then took it upon themselves to breach the privacy of Meghan Markle and Thomas Markle, and defamed Thomas in the process by giving anonymous interviews to People magazine. Thomas Markle was unable to fund a lawsuit against the magazine and asked the Mail on Sunday to print his version of the story with more complete extracts of the letter to prove he wasn't lying and that he was being defamed. Meghan Markle thought this would garner sympathy for her, but it didn't, and she decided to sue for breach of privacy and copyright infringement. However, as the friends had breached her privacy, as Meghan Markle claims she didn't give them permission, one looks at why People isn't being sued for the same tort, yet Associated Newspapers Limited is. The five friends are now being classed as witnesses, but Meghan Markle wants their identities to remain anonymous, quite possibly to prevent them from testifying. Justice Warby decided on the 7th of August 2020 that the Markle famous five can remain anonymous for the time being so that the case can proceed. It's an interim judgment that will be reviewed at pretrial or when the need arises. Basically, he's letting them have the summer before it's all stripped bare. However, that wasn't really the point, because we all know that the friends will be named when they are called witnesses. But by allowing these friends to be named, that means that the Associated Newspaper Limited publications could name them in articles, whereas the rules currently don't allow this. This is all transitory, but who benefits? Some say this is a win for Meghan Markle, but it isn't because it's not definitive. Others say she was hoping that they would get named so she would have an excuse to drop the case and look like a martyr. She could do that, but she doesn't seem to want to. Was it a win for the friends? I hardly think so, given that innocent friends remain under suspicion, and the guilty ones will be wondering how much longer they can get away with not being named. Meghan Markle can drop the case, plus pay all the fees, but this is about ego and power for her. She's spending ridiculous amounts of money on lawyers, the only ones who benefit. And for what? Because her father called her out for lying, and the media outlets are backing him, because we could all read with our own eyes what she wrote, which was rather nasty, don't you think? What this added hearing did do is give us more information about the couple of the friends, and also revealed that the Sussex camp had been leaking press releases and court documents to various external bodies before they were filed. It also revealed that the Daily Mail had stories lined up on the same day when court documents were released. But while I'm no fan of the Daily Mail or the Sun, the articles were puff pieces that could have been published any day of the week. One should also bear in mind, based on the Daily Mail comments, that at least 90% of readers do not see the duo as in a favorable light already, so such articles would have had little to no effect. In addition, it should be noted that this is a disclaimer, and the following are not my opinions based on the information available, and should not be construed as legal advice or facts. My opinions may be speculative based on prior knowledge of the possible witnesses. Almost immediately, it is stated that the friends can remain anonymous for the interim purely so that the case can proceed without more delays. Basically, Warby states that this case has been hindered and that the identities may not be protected in the future when evidence is given or if further statements are submitted. Some have considered it a win for Meghan Markle, but this wasn't true. Warby's decision appeared to be based on procedural concerns for now, and he's basically giving them the summer holidays to enjoy. The purpose of the application was to attempt to get the identities shielded permanently, and that's not the case. However, Meghan Markle is now stating that her friends had said was wrong. But why didn't she say that earlier, instead of when she had changed her mind about her father victimizing her? The problem here is that the friend has defamed Thomas Markle and he can sue her because it was those comments that forced him to defend himself that have led to the current events. The issue is whether there was a breach of privacy and misuse of private information, given that Meghan Markle had shared the contents of the letter with several parties prior to the intended recipient, Thomas Markle. The defendant disputes the contention that the contents of the letters were private and confidential and denies that the claimant had a reasonable expectation that it was or would remain private. Alternatively, publication was justified in pursuit of the protection of the rights to freedom of expression of the defendant, its readers, and Mr. Markle. The claimant herself had knowingly caused or permitted information about her personal relationship with her father, including the existence of the letter and a description of its contents, to enter the public domain. The question is, can there be an expectation of privacy when the letter had already been shared and discussed with other parties? Meghan Markle had allowed external parties to know the details and thus didn't take measures to secure the privacy that she is supposedly suing for. It also goes on, as I have said before, that Thomas Markle shared the extracts of the letter purely to defend himself, and he had that right, as one of the letters discussed was the one that he wrote, and thus he owned the copyright to that, besides his privacy being breached. To me, the above is logical and is what I have said many times over. And because Meghan Markle didn't sue people, that to me is the red flag. At the time, Meghan Markle didn't comment on whether she knew her friends had given interviews. But as we all know, Meghan Markle cuts off people who speak to the press without her consent. As someone who claims to value their privacy, surely she would feel betrayed by those close friends for breaching her privacy. Why didn't she complain to or sue People magazine if her privacy was so important? Plus, Meghan Markle always claims that she had no knowledge of the interviews and then throws a friend under the bus by saying the friend gave false information. But this version of the story is the new one since Meghan Markle has decided her father didn't victimize her as previously alleged. In the interview, there was more than a passing reference, and it was discussed with quotes and detail that was a column long. I would consider several quotes from the letters as very specific detail, especially when they are word for word. She specifically denies having any knowledge that her friends would make any reference to the letters or its content. She maintains further that the reference to the letter was in any event only a brief and passing reference made by one of the friends with no detail, and that the summary of the letter that was provided was completely wrong. She relies on that last point as bolstering her case that she did not authorize any revelation of or about the letter. What this judgment did reveal is that the claimant's lawyers don't appear to be acting in good faith, and the old trick of sending documents just before midnight while sitting on them all day is a low one, used by those who are typically desperate. They claimed to have filed documents at court, but that didn't appear to be the case as everything is time-stamped. The media tends to copy stories and spin them, but Warby seems to be frustrated at the apparent leaks, and both sides have been playing the game. That's how the media works, but not with confidential documents, although we know it does happen. Having read many of the articles in real time, I have to say that they didn't reveal very much, except that the 5 friends had been named, but the identities were kept under wraps. Most people didn't believe that the 5 friends existed, and Warby underestimates the public interest in the case. Most people are laughing at the case and weren't that interested in the names, but for the fact she claimed to have 5 friends that she hadn't ghosted yet. Many see this farce as entertainment during the free time and not as an actual legal matter. For the majority, this is merely a free soap opera. Is that what you think? Why don't you let me know in the comment section below? Remember to like and share this video if you loved it. And as always, subscribe to our video for all the latest news on the royal family right here. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.